Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be going over how to overcome your fears. All right, many people, we might be going through some type of fear. We might be going through a whole bunch of anxiety, and we might have fearful thoughts. We might, we sometimes let this fear take control of us, and we don't know how to operate. We don't know how to, move through life because this fear is just eating us up alive, and we don't know how to counteract it. We don't know how to eliminate it altogether. All right, because this world makes you believe that having fear, having anxiety, having all these fearful thoughts is normal within life. When I don't think that's the case, in my opinion. It all depends on what type of situation you're in. If you are in some type of situation where you are where your life is in danger, then those type of emotions are pretty normal. But if you're just going out in public, where you're going out to the store, you're going to work, you're going to the movies, we're going to school, things like that, and you just have a whole bunch of anxiety, like like somebody's out to get you or something like that. That's not really normal. That's not normal. So we need to understand that God does not give us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. We always have to keep that in the back of our minds and in our hearts as well. All right. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how to overcome fear. All right. So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we need to understand your fear. Now, this is where this is the time where you need to take to step outside of yourself for a minute and to analyze your mind. You need to ask yourself questions. This is the time to ask yourself questions. Become a detective of your mind. Ask yourself, why am I going through these situations? Why am I having these thoughts? Why am I having these fearful thoughts? Why am I having this type of anxiety? What has caused me to have all this fear? All right, it could be some type of trauma you've been through. It could be just any type of situation that you have gone through. It's things that you have done. Opening doors, opening portals, and things like that. So we need to be able to ask ourselves. The next time you going through some type of fearful situation, you having your anxiety starts raising. If you're going through any of those type of emotions, the next time you go through those type of emotions, just ask yourself to analyze yourself. Why am I going through this? You need to understand, become a detective of your mind, and ask yourself, why am I going through these situations? Why am I having these thoughts and things like that? So that's the first action that you need to take in step one. So number two, there can be no initiative if there's fear involved. Now, we can't be having that victim mindset, that victimhood, where we say, oh, this is just the way I am, this is just a part of me, it's just a part of life. We can't be thinking like that. We can't be thinking in those terms. All right. So we need to take action. We need to take initiative to do the necessary things to get rid of this fear, because I know you do not want to be going through this feeling, because I used to go through it within my life. I never had the mindset to be able to ask myself why am I going through these things? Why am I going through these situations? All right, because like I said in the beginning, this world thinks having fear and being having anxiety, having butterflies is normal. And that's the way I took it. But now that I know, now that I have discernment, God has given me that discernment, that knowledge, that information. I know that's not the case. All right, so we need to take the initiative. We need to do the necessary things to build ourselves up, to build our courage up. All right, whether that be through having a closer relationship with God. I think that's the ultimate way, in my opinion, because God. I wouldn't have been having no fear. I wouldn't have been this courageous. I wouldn't have been this brave. Without God, without having God in my life. All right, because fear stands for false evidence appearing real. I know you heard that saying before. False evidence appearing real. It's not real. We tend to blow things out of proportion. We have all these doubts and thoughts in our minds, but once we get into that situation, once we encounter that situation, it wasn't as bad as we seem, right? So second thing, we need to take initiative and to understand why are we going through this, and take the necessary actions to eliminate that fear, to get rid of that fear altogether. So number 3 is there is intelligence when you are not afraid. Now, I stated this in the beginning that God does not give us the spirit of fear. All right, once that intelligence starts to kick in, once that discernment starts to kick in, you understand that fear cannot touch you, fear cannot strangle you, fear cannot dismantle you, fear cannot discombobulate you. It can't throw you off course. All right, so once you have that intelligence, once you have that wisdom, that God-given wisdom, that God-given discernment, you're able to discern, what is the truth and what is the lie, what the world does, what the world tries to promote. The world tries to promote fear, like what on the news, social media, all that stuff doesn't faze you. All right, when the people who don't have God in their life, they don't have the gift of discernment, they tend to take all this information that that they're viewing on social media, the news, all these other different outlets within life. They tend to be become discouraged and afraid, because the world feeds off of fear and emotions. We always got to remember that the world feeds off of fear and anxiety. The world tries to promote it in any way they can, because that's how they're able to control the masses, is by fear. All right, so once you're able to have that discernment, once you're able to understand that, you don't let these things control you. You don't let these things manipulate you. These people manipulate you. So you have that God-given wisdom, that God-given intelligence to know that fear is false evidence appearing real. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. You need to understand that. So step 2 is to how to overcome this fear, whatever fear that you're going through. So number 1, you must be willing to live without being dependent upon the opinion of others. This is very key. Man, you can't be affected by the way people think, the way people view you, the opinions, the criticism, the judgments. You can't let that stuff get to you. I remember, like, in the past, I used to let people, I used to let the opinion of others get to me. It used to affect me in all these different ways. But now, since I have discernment, once I give my life to God, I became more courageous. I became more brave. I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care about the opinions of others. People judging me, scoffing, mocking, and things like that. That stuff doesn't get to me, because I have the gift of discernment. All right, I have the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. All right, so you can't be letting these people's opinions, the way they view you, the way they talk about you, always criticizing you, always talking, always doing all this talking. You can't let that stuff get to you. You don't let the opinions of others get to you. All right, so the way you need to overcome fear is to not let these people, not to let any outside influences, outside sources, different things outside of yourself within the world. You don't let these things get to you. So number 2, learn to value yourself over external things, being self-sufficient. Now, you can't be, relying on external circumstances. You can't be relying on people. You can't be relying on the outside world, such as, preachers, teachers, prophets, missionaries, gurus, and things like that. You become more self-sufficient. You take the time to understand yourself. You take the time to get closer to God. You take the time to take care of your body. You take the time to take care of your mind, body, and soul all together. You become more self-sufficient. You do the research. You do all the work. You do all the handiwork to become the best version of yourself. All right. You have a reason to get up in the morning. You have a reason to want to work on yourself. You have a reason to, want to change the world. You want to use your gifts and talents to change the world in any way you can. So when you don't have that fear, you don't worry about all that, all the stuff that, that life tries to throw at you, all the traps, the illusions, all these different things that life tries to distract you with. All right, you are staying on course. You staying on that narrow path. You have that tunnel vision. All right, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You want to use your gifts that God has given you to bless others and to change the world in any way you can. All right, so when you become more self-sufficient, when you don't have that fear, you become more self-sufficient, and you don't rely on outside influences, outside sources, outside circumstances to dictate you and to change you in any way. And number 3, letting go of your pride. Too many times, people might be stuck on their pride. They might become, egotistical. All right, they might think they're better than the next man, or they might be better than the next woman. They sit on this throne. They sit on this, this high place, and they just looking down on everybody, thinking they're better than everybody. We can't have that type of mindset. All right, we need to, we need to stay humble at all times. All right, there's times where we need to have that confidence. We need to have that God-given confidence to, show people that, we can't be pushed around, because, we have a job to do, we have a mission to do, but at the same time, we need to be humble. We need to be humble at the same time as having that confidence. All right, so when you let go of that pride, you become more efficient, you become a better person, you're able to, help other people and things like that. So when people are so worried about their status and their name and their pride, they might think that somebody might take their position. They might think somebody might take their crown, their throne, and that's when the anxiety starts to kick in. So we need to have that mindset to where we can't be prideful. We can't, think we're better than everybody. We always need to stay humble, stay meek, and to always, be, an example. We need to be an example for people. We need to be a role model for different people. All right, so always let go of that pride, become more humble, become more meek, and set an example and be the light of the world. All right, so let's recap. This is how to overcome fear. So step 1, understanding your fear. There can be no initiative if there is fear involved, and there is intelligence when you are not afraid. And step 2, how to overcome that fear. Number 1, must be willing to live without being dependent upon the opinion of others. 2, learn to value yourself over external things, being self-sufficient. And number 3, letting go of your pride. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Hopefully hopefully these steps will be able to help you out and letting go of that fear, letting go of that anxiety. And we tend to let these things take control of us, wreak havoc of us. We don't know how to think. We don't know how to maneuver. We're just always affected by the fears of the world, what the world tries to promote, what they try to push out, all these these fearful agendas and all these detrimental agendas that the world tries to push out to us. So once we let go of that fear, we become more free than we ever been in our entire lives. We start to do the necessary things that we want to do. We don't care about the opinion of others. We don't try to role play. We don't try to become, push out this fake persona. We're always, unapologetically us. We become the person that God intended for us to be. All right. So I always have to remember that. Let go of that fear, and be that strong warrior for God that you always have been, and to use your gifts and talents to change the world in any way you can. All right. So till next time, always remember, all power resides from within, and always keep the faith, because God and the universe is always working for you. Take care, guys. God bless.